Alright, today I'm finally decided to make a video. The last video I did was actually not a video I recently made, but it was a very old video. I almost already forgot what I had done, but it is basically showing a relic, and then several people had mentioned that there's some other relics that are just way up there in the stratosphere, and I want to say everything is in the stratosphere. Everything is in the stratosphere right now. I guess if you have the ability to flip cards, which I don't, as I have I don't have the Midas touch when it comes with trading cards. I know what sells online technically, if I guess I sold online, but stuff will just sit regardless of how good it is. But anyway, so like whatever I put into my hobby budget, nothing comes back out of it. There's no end of the rainbow. There's no good to it. There's no, selling this card. Everybody has stuff that's easily liquid. I have stuff that's solid as a rock. It stays here, doesn't move, can't budge. So what do I do? That's why I got into autograph requesting, is because, the stuff that I just couldn't get rid of. I mean, I've probably, deleted, tens of thousands of cards over my years. I mean, just got rid of another 5 or 10 cards. Doesn't seem like a lot, and it's not going to change anything. We're still opening boxes and packs. Oh my gosh, this has been a long day. Boxes and packs, from the 90s. We're still even, making videos like, ooh, I found a 70s pack, dare I open it, sort of thing. So I got 2 cards that came in today, yesterday. I don't have the envelopes because I've moved things around here, but both of them, actually this is one of the envelopes here, but you'll have to, actually that's a piece of one of them, but you'll just have to trust me on I just got these. These both came from Metroplex, Michigan. That was kind of interesting how that happened. I don't know how long these have been out. This is Shane Lau, or Shane Lou, or Laux, L-O-U-X. I think people pronounce it Laux. But anyway, because there's various ways of spelling Laux. But anyway, Bowman, is this his first Bowman card? I can't read that. Bowman 2000. Shane Laux probably didn't do very much. He's in a Detroit uniform, but very happy to have that. Rarely do I ever get any Bowman cards. I think it was 95 Bowman that I was working on putting a set together, and because I was able to find a lot of the prospects online that were done a while back ago. What's amazing is that, you Star Tiger and Sports Card Forum, a lot of these guys that really have made a name for themselves, and some of them just don't sign or haven't signed in an insane long time, a crazy long time that they haven't signed. A lot of times, the last time they were coaching or playing baseball or whatever is when they last signed. The next one here is a vintage card from 1977. This is Don Kirkwood on the Angels. Did I have any other cards to send him? Probably not, because that's how I roll. When you can't get to a regular card shop, I mean, I guess I could. There is a card shop that has affordable cards, but I don't really want to start bringing home more random stuff. I could easily spend $5 and get, several hundred cards. But you don't know what you're getting. You have to basically look at them all. And usually what happens, I started buying those because there were runs of cards. So they would break up the sets, pull out the stars, or somebody had already pulled out the stars, and then it's like, oh man, I got fraction of a set. So that's when I started collecting those sets, because it got close and Snare and Illusion. So I should go and get some of those, but I don't have any way that I can really offload them. Card shows are not going to. People don't want commons. They unless they're building that set, they don't want any commons. I mean, there were some Dodger collectors, but they only wanted Shohei Ohtani. There was a few other team collectors, but people wanted football and basketball when I didn't have it. So, not a viable option for me to do that. I do want to mention something else here. I'm trying to figure out the best way to just put out a quick little video here. But I want to remind people about these Frazier cards that you can get for free. It might be a different card now, but I was able to get 2 of them. I just requested 1 and they gave me 2. That was nice of Rittenhouse to do that. And so I've shown that before, but the Frazier trading card set is out now. And maybe I'll just take a step back and just tell you about the Frazier trading card set. So what we're going to do is to see if we can find an opening here. I went to Beckett. Now, Beckett, I used to go to Cardboard Connection, I think is what it was called. But I wanted to go to Cardboard Connection, and I go to Beckett because that's what came up first here. So this is a card that sold for $66, just one of the many Fraser cards out there. If you don't know about Rittenhouse Archives, and people are still learning every single day, that's why I make these videos. So when I make these videos, I don't necessarily use the best camera quality. I had the best camera in the world and it crashed, you know, a few years ago, and I can't replicate that. I don't remember which model it was. It was just, you know, a sweetheart deal. Great camera that I got for next to nothing, and I'm just using this one here. But if you look at the Fraser trading card set, it's very much like the Rittenhouse cards, like the Cheers set that you may not know about, and other ones. So Fraser, what they did was they made like a 96 card set. They also made a blue parallel set that was numbered to 93. So 93 times 97 or 96 is a lot of cards. So people are not rushing out to get those. I saw some of those finalized at 99 cents auction, and I was one of the only few people that purchased one so far at a $5 price tag. But I was buying another card, and I felt it was my duty to buy 2 cards. So anyway, I was eventually able to get you know, combined shipping, and $2.70 came off my bill. So very happy about that. I don't like to pay double shippings. So I wanted to show you this card. No, this is not me that won this card here. But this is Eddie. So if you don't know, there were 2 different Eddies. One of them was named Moose, and the other one I can't think of. But you see, this is this is Rittenhouse Archives Premier Edition, Seasons 1 through 4. If you're looking for the Kelsey Grammer card and some of the other bigger names there, they're in the set. Unfortunately, they're going to set you back at least $100 to $500 or $600. So, you know, one you want to go for maybe is not the gold, or maybe you buy a box for $150. But people are already saying that, you know, they're getting average boxes and things that are, you know, what you would normally see. People pulling autographs that are worth $50, but other people are pulling 2 autographs that are literally selling for $6 to $10. You know, not 610, but 6 to 10. So, not very much there. And then it's 1 relic per 3 boxes, so averaging out 3 relics, you might be lucky and get 3 boxes of 3 relics, because I saw a case break, and a case break showed that all the relics were at the bottom of the case. So if that's the instance or whatever, people will know approximately where the printing plate card is, and this card is in this card. You know how much a case cost, and say if you're buying a printing plate card for $60, that's half of a box. You know, if you just basically said, I'm in it for the printing plates, and you start wiping out all the printing plates, there could be printing plate set collectors right now, trying to get every single one, hoping that the ones that have already been sold might come back to market when people come back to their senses. But what I wanted to show you this Eddie card here is because Orlando of A Collector's Dream just showed 2 of the most iconic non-sports cards of the 20th century. Now, what's going to be the 2 most iconic cards? He showed the Star Wars card number 1, which I don't have, because, you know, the cards were kind of tanking at the point when I was looking at cards, and they were not doing very well, and, you know, the card number 1 was like $50, and then I could find like a low grade, because PSA 1, what's that going to be? You know, if I could find a PSA 1, that would only be a few dollars for Luke Skywalker's card. But fast forward today, it's between $500 and $3,000 or more. And then I want to show you what we're doing here, or what they're doing. I mean, we got graded examples. PSA 8, Pop 84, you know, $125,777. I mean, that card was not even a penny when it was new. You know, it went from like virtually 1 cent to like hundreds of thousands of millions of cents. You know, and then we got other cards here, $49,000. You get the 3 best cards in there. I'm not even sure if I have. I haven't even looked at my binder. I did look at my binder, but I haven't looked to see which ones I have. In the blue series. That's the only series that really counts. But people are asking a fortune, sometimes $10 per card. I'm looking very, very quickly. My binder is full of Swiss cheese. I'm missing some of these cards. If any of you realize how crazy Star Wars is right now, I saw the handwriting on the wall when I found a deal on Star Wars numbered cards and the seller was gone. I tried to go get them and they had already sold. And yeah, unfortunately, I mean, I have plenty of Luke Skywalker cards because he's one of the main people in the set there, but I don't have any of those three. Because I didn't realize at the time, yes, I got Darth Vader pointing his finger, you know, never underestimate the powers of the dark side or something like that. So anyway, and then we got a $29,000, well, because Mark Hamill supposedly autographed it or something like that. Man, you know, just throw a PSA slab on here. I mean, there's a Beckett slab. Somebody had the audacity to go to Beckett, and maybe there was a reason for that. Maybe PSA was doing something, or I don't know. But $3,000, and ungraded ones. People are just trying to get money, crazy money out of ungraded cards. You know, ungraded question mark, or undergraded question mark, sorry, undergraded. Now they're doing all kinds of tricks and trade. But what I was trying to get, oh, and the other card was from the 1930s, it was the Mickey Mouse and Walt Disney card. And I could have had one of those for $75. But the point that I'm trying to make here is that those are old back, that's a 1930s card and that's a 70s card. What's going to be the current card that hits the iconic benchmark here? I mean, is it as a Rittenhouse card? You know, maybe it's going to be a Topps card here. Do we already have one? A recent most iconic card. Maybe it's one of those things that Keith Shore, but I'm thinking about non-sport here. You know, is it going to be some sort of garbage pail kid that's iconic or whatever? But again, I was thinking, now, when you buy a box of cards here, you have to realize that even if you get a relic card, you are not getting the Eddie relic card here. This one sold for $66 because it was two color. But it's nice that Rittenhouse tried to match up what they think that the relics might have come from, and that's very possible that it did come from that one there. Very, very possible, looking like Wishbone or something like that. So, you know, he's a doggy, a little doggy, because people love little doggies. People like, you know, they get all sad because Eddie is no longer with us, or Moose. And so, you know, that all of the cards, there's only one up there on eBay for $50. $50, and all of the rest of them disappeared. They disappeared to that like $30 benchmark and were gone as soon as they got listed. You know, and those are mostly single relic cards. Maybe some have a little splash of another color on there. But would this be, because again, this is probably the first legit dog relic cards out there. If you can name any other dog relic cards. Maybe some of the Harry Potter cards, but I mean, I'm just trying to think of what would be the next iconic card. It's got to have some kind of really zip or pizzazz to it. You know, I'm not thinking basically like a sports set that intermixed, you know, non-sports. I mean, the egg card for a while, you know, the egg card was iconic for a second or two. Now it's not iconic. But can you pinpoint to any non-sport card in the 21st century that anybody at a card show is like, oh yeah, that one, sick, I had a chance to get that card and I didn't, you know, or I know that card. If I actually bought one of these cards, if I was lucky enough to get one, and one of the things is that there are 12 different relics, and the rest of them are Martin Crane, and the rest of them are Fraser Crane. You know, ties, pants, jacket, you know, Dockers, whatever. You know, and this is the one you want to get, because there are no others. You know, Eddie's not signing autographs. Eddie's not, you know, stamping his paw print on anything. And there are autograph cards which I would like to get. You know, this just came out like 2 weeks ago. You know, so maybe this is the time to get them. But you know, somebody might just load up a crazy ton of Eddie cards. But I'm looking, and he does have other cards in the set, and there's an Eddie subset. But the crazy thing is that I have not seen anybody pull an Eddie card in their box breaks, in their single box breaks, in their case breaks. So whoever broke them either broke them on another social media platform and then threw them up on eBay, or they just broke the boxes and didn't list their results. It's really cool to see something like this here. But what we want to do very, very quickly, and I want to show you, so we just go to Fraser and Eddie, and that shows up. So this is also to point out that the Fraser set is out and you should be getting your cards now. Eddie, Fraser, Eddie, and non-sports trading cards here. Don't put in Rittenhouse, I guess, if you don't have to, because not everybody's put that in. So we go to Fraser and Eddie, and there's 31 results for Fraser and Eddie. There's a duo inserts card, and sometimes they just feature Eddie there. So they'll just use that term there. There's Eddie the Dog set, E1 through E9 for $40, but I've seen them as low as $2 a card. You won't be able to see those, but I'll zoom in here very quickly. There's the Eddie set there. So that's kind of a fun one. I thought about going for that one there. You know how I build non-sports sets? Sometimes I'll pick out, I should have done that with Star Wars, but pick out the players that I think that are going to basically, you know, hold their value, and then just work on the El Benchos. There's a fun one with Eddie and Frazier right there. They actually used that image on another card. That's the blue bordered one, not that one, but the blue bordered one I picked up, numbered at 93. That's the one I picked out. So I bought one of those. And then these are all the Eddie cards right here. And then we're looking to see if there's some more featuring Eddie there. But we want to see if there's any relic cards here. And currently, there's only one. There's a tiny edge of some green there, but in all intents and purposes, it's a one color card there. And that's $50 plus $6 for shipping, or best offer. You know, people want to be in that $30 range here. That's the max of what you want to be in. But eventually, it might end up being super expensive when all the sets are done, when all the people basically put that in their forever collections. There's a Martin Crane for $15. You know, it's probably a shirt or Dockers or something. And then there's a complete costume set card with card number 9, number to 75. That's got 23 hours left on it, but I can assure you that this card set is going to go for hundreds of dollars. I participated in a few auctions and I just got blown out of the water. But yeah, there's no way that's going to go close to anywhere near $51. Because, I mean, you may, you know, if you might amortize them out to 7, if you do 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, well, 12. You know, so that's, yeah, they're less than, you know, $5 a card right now. You know, so, but I mean, that's not going to be that way. It might work out to, you know, whatever the cheapest relic is on eBay and work out to that price. And somebody might get a good deal on this one here. There's nothing, but there is an Eddie card there, and it's a dual color Eddie card there. So that's the only other Eddie that I have been able to find currently up for sale. And again, that one sold for $66. One almost identical to that. How crazy is that? So again, somebody's going to get a good deal, because just that one card alone is right at that $51 plus $10 for shipping. That could go for $400. We just don't know. There could be a set builder that's really gaga for that one. We'll just go down and see if there's any other ones. Oh yes, and there's Frazier binders here. You would think that over time, you know, this $34.95 might go down, but there's also $20 for shipping. That's a lot of shipping there to get that to a person, you know. I wouldn't know. Could you be able to do that medium mail because of the binder? You know, I don't know. Figure out to throw some extra pieces of paper in there and make it cheaper shipping. Don't really know how that works. So there's no other Eddie cards that I can find here. Very, very interesting. So this just poses the question. I don't think it's going to be... I would think that it would be a card that pretty much everybody could get their hands on at one point. Not just like anything, like an insert card. If you have any ideas of what the next iconic non-sport card is going to be, put down in the comments, and thank you for watching.